Hello everybody and welcome to Car Confections. Now, sitting right behind us is the 2024 Mazda CX-5, and this is a very popular vehicle on our channel. So today we want to do a sound level test to see if this CX-5 is as quiet as the competition and not just at 55 miles an hour at all speeds. So let's go ahead and dive in. So the Mazda CX-5, of course, is Mazda's most popular product. It's also a very premium offering in the compact family SUV segment. So a ton of people buy these per year, and there's a lot of competition to this model. But because it has a more premium image, we want to know, is this quieter than the competition when we test it out in a full range of speeds? Well, that's what we're going to do today. As Mason mentioned in the introduction, we're going to take our sound level reader and we're going to check several different speeds and acceleration just to see how quiet this product is. So let's not waste any time. Let's get to it. All right, guys, so now we're on the road for our sound test, and the first thing that we want to test out is an acceleration. Now, what are we really testing here? This is testing how loud the engine is, because not all engines are the same. So when you're accelerating from a complete stop, how much noise intrusion is going to be coming in from the engine? That's what we're going to test out here. .9 is our official rating with a full throttle acceleration from a stop. So that's a pretty good reading. One of the things that we're looking to kind of confirm with this is, you know, how quiet is it compared to some of the competition, because the CX-5 I do feel like is a bit quieter than something like a Toyota RAV4, for instance. Now we want to go ahead and do a second sample, and this one's going to be at 40 miles per hour. Our official reading is 56.2 decibels, going 40 miles per hour. And what does 40 miles an hour represent? Well, it represents kind of that level of sound you experience as you drive around the city. You know, if you look at your overall average speed, I would say it's a lot lower than a lot of people think. You know, people are like, oh, I drive a lot on the interstate or whatever, but you also drive a lot in the city, whether you think so or not. And that's going to, you know, lower that overall average speed that you are experiencing. That is one of the big reasons why the sound level test in our full reviews is set at 55, because that's kind of a great middle ground between the highway and the city experience.
If you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
And let's move on to the next test at 50 miles per hour. .4 decibels is what we are sitting at, so really not much of an increase at all from 40 to 50 miles per hour in the CX-5. And I think that's pretty impressive, because one of the things that we do want to kind of show here is that the average human can hear a 1 decibel difference. So even though the numbers may not percentage-wise be a lot different, 1 decibel is something that you can actually hear when you're just in person. So I'm very happy to see that as we get to higher speeds, the CX-5 isn't letting in a lot more noise intrusion. And of course, we're going to be testing that out on the interstate here in just a second.
Yeah, like Mason was saying, it is important to note the science behind sound level readings and the fact that
they are on a logarithmic scale, so a small difference in that overall number actually can make a big difference, you know, in your overall perception of that sound.
All right, guys, and now we are on the interstate, so let's go ahead and do our 70 mile per hour test. Got our fan speed on 1. 57.9 decibels is our final reading here, going 70 miles per hour on the interstate, which is, I think, a very, very impressive sound level reading. It's quite a bit under 60 decibels, and most of the vehicles that you test going on the interstate are well into the 60s, about 64, 65 decibels. So this CX-5 really is not showing much of a difference between going 40 miles an hour and 70 miles an hour. Even though it's a huge difference in speed, the sound entering into the cabin isn't much different at all.
Yeah, that's definitely a great thing to see for sure. A lot of you guys do ask us sometimes to do these. That's why we're trying to do a 70 mile an hour test to show you, kind of what you would experience when you are cruising on the highway at a faster speed overall. But yeah, that's a quite impressive rating. You sometimes see on more affordable vehicles. I'm thinking of, like maybe a Honda Civic, for example, at 55 miles an hour. That's actually above 60 decibels. So to see that this at 70 miles an hour is below is pretty good.
All right, guys, so that's going to be the end of our sound level test at various different speeds with this Mazda CX-5. Of course, you can see those final measures on the screen right now at 40 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour, and 70 miles an hour, in addition to that acceleration sound level reading. That's one of the most interesting ones to me, is how loud is the engine, how much noise is entering into the cabin. So hopefully you found those measures helpful when you're looking at this CX-5. Is it quieter than the competition? Certainly it is quieter than the previous vehicle that we tested out in a sound level test, which was the Buick Envista. It came in several decibels quieter overall in our highway figures and our interstate figures. So I think you're really going to be impressed with the overall premium experience inside of this cabin. I think it's very luxury-esque when it comes to how much noise is entering into this cabin.
Yeah, and if you like this kind of video, make sure you subscribe. And, we hope to add more models, like, the spread of which ones we have full spectrum sound level test about, especially in this segment, since it's so popular and important to you guys.
Yeah, and if you're new to the channel and haven't subscribed, like Drew said below, we would really appreciate it if you did so. By subscribing, you give us the opportunity to do these tests, because Mazda sent down this vehicle for us to live with for 7 full days. So if you don't subscribe, we don't get those opportunities. So please subscribe down below. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support. And we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.